What's up, Node.js developers? Welcome back to a new video. Today, I want to talk about competition and how we should approach it. Because the thing is that before I started working on the project for the Node.js Startup Challenge, I didn't do any market research just because so many times my ideas have been crushed when looking at other solutions that already exist on the market. This is not how it should be, but I think that you know what I mean. When you have an idea, you think that this is a unique idea, nobody thought about that. When you start doing some research and you see it's already implemented by someone else, and then it gets very demotivating. Now that I have a bit more experience and I learn more about the business side and the startups, now I start to understand that having no competition is actually a bad thing for your business, and we should strive to look into the industries, areas where there are already people activating and companies activating there. As counterintuitive as it might sound, when pitching your idea to investors or some competitions or accelerators, if you answer to the question whether you have competition or not, if you answer no, I don't have any competition, this is probably the worst thing that you can do, because the investor will run away from this. It's either you haven't done your homework and you haven't done the proper research to see what available solutions are there on the market, or another possibility is that you're building something that actually nobody needs. I don't know, a dating app for snails. Also, another reason why there might not be any competition is when you're too early in a market and the actual market is not ready yet for your solution. That is also not a very good place to be in, and investors don't like to invest in these types of businesses because it requires a lot of resources in order to educate the market. For example, Webvan was a startup that was started back in 1996, and it was a grocery delivery services. It activated for a couple of years. They invested more than $1 billion in their warehouses and their Sun servers, and to build all of this infrastructure. But unfortunately, 3 years later, they filed for bankruptcy. And now, 20 years later than that, we have DoorDash, which is basically doing the same thing as Webvan was doing. But the difference is that now the market is ready for this solution and we reach a point where it makes sense for this solution. That's why Webvan, even though they didn't have any competition back then, they didn't manage to succeed and they filed for bankruptcy. On the other side, DoorDash is valued now at more than $30 billion and is doing quite well, I would say. What I'm trying to say by this is that it's actually a good thing to have competition, and we should be positive about that. Because that means that there is actual demand out there, and in an open market, there will be space for other smaller companies to fulfill the same needs, because one single player cannot fulfill the whole need of a market. And the other thing is that there are already other players, other big players in the market, which are spending their resources on educating the market on the solution that you are trying to provide. All we have to do is to be smart about that and to properly ride the wave that was started by these big players. Yes, it can be daunting, yes, it can be difficult, and you can think that it's impossible to compete with these big players while you're alone in your office coding it during the weekends or nights. But if you think about it, it's actually very much possible, because most of our revolutionary businesses were not started by these big players like Google or Facebook or Meta. They were started by individual people that were so passionate about the idea and about the problems that we're solving that they kept grinding it until they succeeded. And after that, the big players come in and they're buying these solutions. The similar thing what happened to Instagram, WhatsApp, and a lot of other applications in the market. So the big players, even with all of their money, with all the resources, with all the developers, engineers, marketing departments, when it comes to building revolutionary startups, they don't have the right mindset about it. And it's actually much more likely that you, as an indie developer, as a person who is just starting, is going to build something that will stick, will build something that will change an industry. Because if you can't out-resource them, you should outsmart them. And there are a couple of strategies to do that. The first strategy is niching down. Here we look at the big players and big solutions that are out there, which are trying to appeal to mass market, to everyone basically. And we take this solution and we adjust it just for a specific niche in that industry. By doing that, you are gonna provide better value for this small group of people. And when these people, when they will search for a solution, having the possibility to choose between a general solution that appeals to everyone and specific solution that appeals specifically for their needs, they will choose the second one, and they will even be able to pay more for that solution. For example, ConvertKit, when they joined the market, there were a lot of competitors in the email marketing solutions, and one of the biggest one was MailChimp, which you probably heard of them. But ConvertKit was smart about that, and they targeted specifically content creators, and they have built features specifically targeted towards content creators, but at the same time they were doing what MailChimp was doing, basically providing email marketing solution. And just by niching down, they managed to build a very successful business which is doing more than $30 million per year. The next strategy is to scope down the project, and to do that you basically look at one of these big players in the market, in the industry, you pick one feature out of their solution and you do it like 10 times better than them, because you can spend all of your time specifically on this feature, but they have to divide their resources towards other 100 or 1000 features from their application. So in the end, like, you're gonna have like a very clear minimal solution that will again like target specific people that need that specific feature. And in your case, you're gonna do it much better. And the third one is to do it differently. Basically, look at what solutions are out there. Think about the problems that they are solving and think about how you can solve the same problem in a completely different way. For example, that's what Uber did to the taxi industry. By solving the same problem of getting people from point A to point B, but doing it in a different way, which is way easier, faster, and less expensive, they managed to revolutionize a whole industry and dominate it with their solution. So these were my revelations this week after I found out about some of the competitors that there are in the market for the application that I'm building for the Not Just Startup Challenge. So what I wanted to say to you and also to me is that don't be afraid of competitors, because having competition is something healthy that challenges us to do the best that we can do for our customers, and this is in the end actually beneficial for all of us. Now I want to remind you about the Not Just Startup Challenge. This is a 7-week challenge where I invite all of our community to build their own startups and then participate in the demo day by pitching your ideas and having the possibility to win up to $1,000. It's not too late to join yet. You don't have to do anything at the moment to join the challenge. Everything that you have to do is to actually start working on your startup idea, start doing customer interviews, validating your idea, coding a prototype, and start running some tests with real users. And during the demo day, you will have to pitch the idea. And for that, I'm gonna come during the next weeks with more details on how you can sign up for that. More details about the challenge you can find in the description below. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel not to miss future videos like this. And as always, guys, take care, stay hydrated, and build awesome startups. Bye.